Hey everyone, it's Michael from Devoted to Vinyl, and in this video, we're going to be talking all about vinyl record accessories. Which ones are essential that you might need? Let's talk about it. Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I really wanted to kind of talk about vinyl record accessories. There are always new people coming into the hobby, and even if you've been in the vinyl record hobby for a long time, you're always kind of trying to figure out how you can plus up your record collecting experience and your record listening experience. So without further ado, I'm going to give you my thoughts on a few accessories that personally I can't live without. Some that I think are a little bit more perks rather than essentials, but I really still wanted to put it all inside of the same essential vinyl record accessory box, if you will. So let's get started. So number one on my list is a Stylus Guard. It's probably the most unsexy thing that's on this list, but it's low-key really essential. Now, almost every record player these days comes with a Stylus Guard, no matter the price point, whether it's inexpensive or really pricey. And there's a reason for that, because the last thing you want to do is damage your stylus. But what about the times when you're not really paying attention around your turntable? Now, when we're immersed in the vinyl record listening experience, I think we're all pretty careful when it comes to taking care of our turntable equipment. But what happens when we're not really paying attention? What happens when we're not even playing records? Maybe walking by your turntable and a jacket zipper catches on the stylus or the tone arm and rips it clean off. What about little kids running around your turntable? What about you having, I don't know, cats that might jump onto the cabinet where your turntable is and causing a little bit of havoc? You just don't know what can happen. And that's why having a Stylus Guard firmly covering your stylus just really prevents any possible and really ugly mishaps from happening. All right, now number two on my list is a record brush. Now, for me at least, no matter how clean my record is, once I actually put it onto a shelf and I kind of forget about it for a few months, once I pull it back out and I put it on the turntable, there always tends to be a certain level of dust, and depending on how long it's been stored, maybe quite a bit of dust on the actual surface of the record. So before I actually spin the record, I love to take the record brush and just lightly put it on top of the surface of the record, let the record spin around, and clean up all of that dust, collect it into the brush, and then dust it off into a dust bin. This always helps me bypass the frustration of having to deal with all of the pops and ticks and crackles that comes with actually playing a bit of a dirty record. So while I always really want to just grab my record, throw it on the turntable, and begin listening and really having a really good time, I always think that it really pays off to take an extra 30 seconds and use a record brush. All right, now number three on my list is some sort of a record holder to display the record that you're playing. Now, if you take a look over to the left side of the screen right here, you'll notice that I have this record posed inside of a record holder. And the thing I really love about it is that it's a very simple way to be able to display your records. You'll notice that it's really just a block of wood with two horizontal slots to hold vinyl records. And the thing I really love about this one as well is that it has the ability to be able to hold either single LP jackets or gatefold jackets. So whether you have an album that has just one LP inside, or you have a gatefold jacket that actually holds two LPs, so it's a bit thicker, a bit chunkier, you're gonna be covered. And overall, I just love the actual look of it. It's a very simple and minimalistic look, and it really always does a good job of staying upright without falling over. And I think it just overall does a really good job of displaying the records that I love. Now, there are all kinds of record holders. You can get ones that are minimalist, like the one I have here to my left. You can get ones that actually say now playing right in front of the actual record, which I think looks really cool. Or sometimes they'll say now spinning. You can get ones that are really popular and mainstream that are sold on Amazon or Walmart, or you can get ones that are customized and really get it fine-tuned to your particular liking on places like Etsy or eBay. I really love how little things like a vinyl record holder really brings out the creativity in the community when it comes to displaying your vinyl records. All right, now number 4 on my list And I can't believe we're already at number 4 already. This is crazy. Number 4 on my list is a record clamp. Now this is one that I actually waffled a little bit in terms of putting on the list. Yes, I do have record weights and clamps, and I actually do use them. A record weight or a record clamp really does a good job of being able to sandwich the actual vinyl record closer to the platter for better playback. And I also like that if you have a warp in your record, a record weight, or especially I would say a record clamp, can do a good job of kind of ironing that out just a little bit. So while I do use a record weight or a record clamp, and I actually made a video on this, which I will link in the description, I don't know if I would necessarily say they are essential, but I do like using them. I do think that it can improve the listening experience, and that's why I put them on this list. All right, now number 5 on my list is a dust cover. Now, this is something that shouldn't frustrate me, but does frustrate me. All right, give me some room. Let me vent here. So if you have an affordable turntable or maybe even a mid-tier turntable, it tends to come with a dust cover, and that's a really good thing. As fans of vinyl, we're always fighting with the dust problem. I already talked about how using a record brush can help me with fighting dust, and having a dust cover can really do an even better job because it not only will protect the vinyl, but it will protect your tone arm from dust, your stylus from dust, your platter from dust. It will protect everything that you need to play your records effectively from dust. But it seems to me that the more money you're spending when it comes to turntables, the less likely you are to get a dust cover. So if you're somebody that spent maybe $700, $1,000, $1,500, you're strangely not necessarily guaranteed to get a dust cover. And there's all kinds of reasons for that, but the fact remains that if you spent a good amount of money on something like the Marantz TT15 S1 or the Clear Audio Concept or maybe one of the higher end project turntables, the fact remains that you're probably gonna have to put a little bit of money aside to pay for a separate dust cover. And that can sometimes be a little bit of a frustrating experience in and of itself, because that means that that dust cover that you get isn't tailored to your specific turntable. And if you don't have a proper dust cover, you might end up having to do a few different things to deal with the dust. There are some people that will just leave their turntable completely naked and will dust manually maybe once every week or two. There are some people that might just throw a pillowcase over the turntable or maybe a towel over the turntable just to not have to deal with the dust. On top of actually dealing with dust, a dust cover can really protect your overall turntable investment. Once again, it's kind of like what I mentioned when I talked about the Stylus Guard. If you have people coming over pretty regularly, if maybe you accidentally were to bump into your turntable, you'd love to have it be protected, especially if you also have animals jumping on and around your equipment, or maybe kids that love to touch and poke on stuff, yank on your tone arm. A turntable dust cover would really do a good job of preventing these problems from happening. At the end of the day, in my opinion, a dust cover is low-key really essential, kind of like a Stylus Guard. It's not sexy, but if you don't want to have to deal with dust and potentially any other problems, you really want a dust cover. All right, so the next one on my list, and I've already lost count, I'm not lying, I've lost count, are inner and outer record sleeves. Now, when I first started this channel, one of the earlier videos that I actually did were dedicated to inner and outer record sleeves, and my thoughts on these have not changed since I made that video many years back. I think that inner and outer record sleeves are one of the more essential things to have when it comes to protecting the integrity of your vinyl records and your record jackets. Now, of course, when you buy a record, even if you buy a used record, it probably is going to come with some kind of an inner record sleeve. But usually those inner record sleeves are going to be made out of paper. And while that's not a horrible thing inherently, paper can tend to scratch your vinyl record if you're being a little bit rough with it. Sometimes the debris of the paper can kind of break down onto the actual surface of the record. It can kind of create extra cleanup that you have to do with your record brush. So I like to use poly sleeves to eliminate that problem. I just simply slip the record into the sleeve and it makes a nice seal in there, and I don't have to worry about it at all. I feel very confident that there's not going to be an overwhelming amount of dust that's going to get in, or that mold will set in over time. It does a really good job, in my opinion, of protecting my records. I haven't had a problem since I started using them many, many years ago. And the same thing tends to be true with my outer record sleeves. I love a really good outer record sleeve that has very, very clear plastic so that I can really make sure that my cover art shines very nicely. My cover art isn't dulled by cheaper, lower quality plastic, maybe plastic that has kind of deteriorated over time. I really try to move away from that and invest in the higher quality sleeves that I have gotten over the years. And the other thing I really like about the thicker quality plastic of a good outer record sleeve is that it's gonna do a much better job of being durable when I put my gatefold jackets that have 2 LPs inside. So there's going to be a lot more wear and tear on the plastic because it's going to have to stretch further to be able to get one of those thicker gatefold sleeves inside. And so when that happens, there's a higher likelihood that the sleeve might have a little bit of a split seam at the corners and things like that. So you're really going to want a thicker quality poly sleeve when it comes to your outer record sleeves. There are all kinds of companies that make really good inner and outer record sleeves. Everyone from Sleeve City to Mobile Fidelity. There are just so many to choose from. All right, so the next thing on my list is kind of a combo pack here. It's some sort of a cleaning machine, or at the very least, some sort of a cleaning process for your records. Now on this channel, I've shown you a lot when it comes to how I clean my records. I've shown you how I clean them with household products and I do it by hand. I've shown you how to clean a record with the Okinoki record cleaning machine. I've shown you how to clean a record with a Record Dr. X cleaning machine. So there are all kinds of ways that you can do it. If you want to do it in the more automated way, which will cost you a bit more money, you can do it that way. If you want to do it by hand, save a little bit of money, but you're gonna have to put in a little bit more elbow grease, you can do it that way as well. Personally, I think both methods for cleaning your records are totally viable and work. It just really depends on how dirty you want to get your hands, so to speak. Now with that said, one thing I really do like about a record cleaning machine is that it allows you to clean a higher volume of records at a faster rate. And while record cleaning machines can sometimes be a little bit loud, so I would recommend some kind of ear protection, maybe some earplugs or some noise canceling headphones or earbuds. They can be incredibly effective at being able to get the cleaning solution really into the grooves of the records, getting out any type of gunk or any type of dirt or debris that might be inside so that your records can sound really, 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 really clean on your turntable. I also think that there really is an essential aspect to record cleaning machines when it comes to buying used records. Sometimes when we get used vinyl records, especially if we got a really good deal, they can come in a little bit of rough shape. If your records have stains on the surface of the record, or if there's been water damage over time and there's actually mold on the surface of your record, you're gonna really want a record cleaning machine to really be able to dive in deep into the grooves and get all that crap out of there so that your records can sound great when it's time to play them. All right, and the last thing that I wanted to add to this list is really gonna be something that I'm gonna kind of combine. I'm really gonna combine two in one here, but I'm gonna say a really good phono preamp and a really good phono cartridge. Now, when it comes to phono preamps, I actually used at the very beginning of my vinyl journey the Audio-Technica AT-LP60 turntable, which had a phono preamp built inside of the turntable. After I used that for a while, I realized I kind of wanted to upgrade to something like the Project Debut Carbon and get my own separate phono preamp. And that's when I started experimenting with different phono preamps. Everything from the Shit Manny to now what I'm using, which is the Vincent PH0701, which really does help produce some really great warm sound in the room, and I really do love using it. And the same thing is true with my journey when it comes to phono cartridges. I went from using a ceramic cartridge to graduating to an Ortofon 2M red cartridge when I got a Project Debut Carbon turntable, to eventually going to the Ortofon 2M blue, the Ortofon 2M bronze, and now I use a Clear Audio Concept cartridge because I have a Clear Audio Concept turntable. But the point is, when it comes to phono preamps and cartridges, these accessories really have a great ability to be able to change the color and the texture of your sound. If you want your music to sound a little bit cooler, a little bit more clinical, there's a cartridge or a phono preamp that will do the job for you. And if you want your music to sound a little bit more engaging, a little bit more lively, a little bit more warmer at the top end, there's a phono preamp and a phono cartridge that will do that for you as well. The great thing about the vinyl hobby is that it's really fun to tinker with things and see what you can come up with that can improve the sound and the tonality of your music. You can always find ways to play around and upgrade what you have and really make it unique. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, put the word essential in the comment section below. Alright, so that's about it, guys. That's my list of the essential accessories for vinyl records and turntables. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below. I always appreciate it when you do that. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel devoted to vinyl if you want to be alerted whenever a new video drops. Feel free to also chime in down in the comment section below and share what your personal favorite accessory when it comes to turntables or vinyl records is as well. Once again, thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video, and as always, stay devoted to vinyl. Hey everyone, it's Michael from Devoted to Vinyl, and in this video, we're going to be talking about the essential vinyl record accessories that you might need to add to your record collecting room. What am I talking about? What?